Hey guys, what is up? This is going to be my mod guide for the new Nerf Doomland series Lawbringer. Now, I really like this blaster a lot. I've been testing it out a lot recently, and I just really like it. It's basically like a 12 round hammer shot that's a little bit larger. So, with that being said, I'm really excited to get started. Okay, now going over what I'm going to be using for the most part. I have my pretty standard screwdrivers. You can use whatever ones you like to use to open up Nerf blasters. So those are just the ones that I happen to like. Something to hold all the screws and small parts in. I'm going to be minimizing this blaster, so having some acrylic or plexiglass, and then some glue to put it on with. That is 2-part epoxy. You're also going to need something to cut this with. I'm going to be using my scroll saw, which obviously I can't fit in this frame. Let's see, we have a needle nose pliers and wire cutters, just in case for potentially removing air restrictor. We have some electrical tape and scissors for potentially improving the seal. We have some of the lubricant that I usually use. This is rubber safe. Make sure that yours is, otherwise it'll destroy your O-ring. And then you'll have to open up the blaster and replace that, which is no fun. Also, I'm going to be painting this blaster, so I have varying grits of sandpaper just to do a little cosmetic work with. And I think that's pretty much most of what I will be using. Okay, so after opening up the blaster and removing the screws, you can lift off the one side, remove the two end strike tactical attachment points here and here, just so that they don't fly out. Although these ones aren't ones with springs, they're just solid plastic pieces. You just don't want to lose them though, because they are hard to replace, with them being a different type than the normal ones. You don't actually have to undo the screws in the stock portion. They can be left undone. And at this point also, I guess if you're not comfortable with doing shell work, you can just pop this out. And then your blaster is technically like shorter. Okay, pause the video here if you need to use this as a reference for the internals. The spring is located under this piece right here. You have the hammer, the trigger, you have your plunger tube, which is the same as the hammer shot, and then you have your turret, and the rotation back is under there. There's a small spring right there, and to lift this entire assembly out, you just have to remove those two screws and then lift it out. After removing those screws, you should be able to lift out the turret, and then the assembly, if you're careful. Here, this is what it looks like. Much like the hammer shot, you could still function it independently of the blaster, which is pretty cool. And then another thing that I noticed that's very cool about this shell is that by removing a few screws, you can detach this piece and the gray piece on the other side, which will make panning the different sections of the shell much easier, because you won't have to like tape anything off. It makes it like super easy. I think I'm going to keep the clear section just because I like how cool it looks, but that pretty much makes everything like super easy. And then you can, I guess, just finish removing everything in the shell by taking off that one screw and pulling this out, and then your shell is completely empty and it's very easy to work with. Okay, it is at this point you would replace the spring if you have an upgraded spring like an Orange Modworks or other aftermarket spring. First thing I'm going to be looking at is the air restrictor up here. There are pretty much two methods to taking this out. You can very carefully pop this tab out and that one, and then take this front piece off, and then take out the air restrictor, or you can remove this bar here and then just crush it and pull it out. I'm going to see whichever works best for me, play around with it in a bit, and then I will get back to you. As you can see here, my air restrictor has been removed. I did that by dremeling out the front section, and then crushing and breaking up the air restrictor, which looks like this. There's a plastic disc, a rubber-ish disc, and then a spring. Make sure you get all those pieces out for a nice clean airflow. There is a back piece in there. I would recommend keeping it in. It acts as a stop for the plunger head. While we're on the topic of the plunger head, I've already re-lubricated mine and inserted it. I kept the stock O-ring, and I didn't really put any electrical tape under the O-ring because mine had a really good seal. You can test the seal by putting your finger on here, well, priming it first, putting your finger on here, and then pulling the trigger, and then seeing how fast the plunger head goes up. You don't really want it to go up that fast. If it goes up almost instantly, then it's 2 loops of a fit, and then if it goes up very slowly, then it's a pretty good fit. I didn't put any tape under mine just because if it's too tight, and it'll actually slow the speed of the plunger head going forward, and that'll reduce your ranges. So I'm just going to keep mine the way it is. However, if you test yours, and if yours is a little bit worse, I would recommend putting a wrap or 2 of electrical tape under the O-ring and then relubricating it and putting it all back together in this manner. Okay, now those were pretty standard mods for most spring Nerf blasters these days, so it shouldn't be too surprising to anyone. I didn't really do anything crazy. However, it is good to make sure that you do it in the correct manner. You can essentially put the blaster back together and have improved performance. And if you're content with that, then I would recommend doing that at this point. It's not too difficult. However, I'm going to go a bit further, and I'm going to be minimizing the blaster. My plan for the shell work is to eliminate this front section so I can get rid of this faux barrel section that sticks in right about there. I'm doing that just to reduce the chance that, while moving, the faux barrel can mess up your range and accuracy if the dart bounces off something, especially if you're moving the blaster a lot, like you're running or something while shooting. I'm probably just going to put the orange tip back on like that. And then I'm still debating about the stock or not. You can cut like right about either vertically down here or like on an angle right about here, and then you would be able to minimize it into like a pistol grip type thing. However, I do like the idea of the ammo holders on the side of the stock. There's 12 total in the stock, and I'm debating if I want to keep that or not, just for the HVZ purposes, to have the extra ammo on the blaster. It might come in handy. So while I debate about that, I'm going to minimize the front section on my bandsaw, scroll saw. Safety glasses and other protective such gear should be worn while using power tools. Okay, so now after going through the belt sander and using an X-Acto knife and a little bit of sandpaper to clean up the edges, you can see it's left with a very, very nice cut. I'm pretty happy with how that came out. It's a very straight cut as well. It's all together very flat, which is going to be good. What I'm going to do next is trace out a plate to cover up this gap, and then I'll probably end up cutting a hole and gluing this onto the front as well. Okay, now as you can see here, I just got finished sanding this for the first time. It's a really good fit. I've also trimmed this piece down, and I'm going to be gluing it onto there like that. So overall, when it's done, it'll look relatively normal. Still needs a little bit of hand sanding around the edges just to make it into really nice condition before I glue it on. And then I'm going to take this over to my drill press, and I have a hole saw already set up to take out a good chunk so that the dart can travel through here once I actually mark it out where it needs to be. Just another reminder to always use proper safety precautions while using power tools, aka eye protection, and in this case clamps. But as you can see here, the finished product is looking pretty good at this point, after I peel off the tape. Okay, now as you can see here, this piece is really starting to shape out. I still need to do a very minor amount of sanding, particularly around this curved region up here, but I might hit it up with the Dremel. And then a bit more hand sanding after this, but just showing you a bit of progress. I've sanded this and removed the paper, and then sanded, obviously. Next step for me is to sand this, which I already did, and then I'm going to glue the two pieces together. And then I already sanded the blaster itself, but I'm going to be attaching it on the one side via glue. So it's going to be, you're still going to be able to open the shell. But when you're entirely done, when I'm entirely done, it's going to look something like this. And that's going to cover up that whole gap area that from the minimization. And then, anyway, after that, I'm going to disassemble the rest of the blaster. I'm going to let this one piece dry overnight. Then I think I'll pick up tomorrow with a bit of body work and then some painting. Okay, now all the different colors are of the shell signify different pieces, and you can pop them apart like this by just pushing the tabs on the inside and in some cases removing a few screws. But other than that, that's going to make painting super duper easy, because I'm going to be painting each of the sections a different color, and that's going to make my three-tone paint job of my, I think I'm pretty much, I've decided at this point that I'm going to do the red, silver, and black that I have come to like a lot. So it'll A, match my other blasters, and B, I just think that that looks really cool. I'm probably going to leave the clear see-through part clear, because it's really cool to see the moving parts on the inside. And then, what else? Oh yeah, this is probably going to be my last segment for the night, and then I'll pick it up tomorrow. I'm going to glue the front plate onto the one. I've decided to leave the orange tip off, and I'll glue that on after I paint it, just so I won't have to keep it orange, so I don't have to tape over it and risk doing something weird and accidentally painting it. And then the only other thing is I'm going to be sanding off, you can't really see it, but there's the warning text there, and there's another section right on the back stock plate, and I'm going to be using my 3 different grits of sandpaper to just remove that before painting. Other than that, I'll guess my next segment will be while I'm painting. Okay, so this is my second run at the base coat. I'm using a Duplicolor black vinyl dye, and then I also brought up some of the other cans so they can heat up a bit, and then the paint sprays nicer, and it allows you to get really nice thin layers. And then there's my respirator. The turret actually just rolled off with the big gust of wind, but it's pretty dry anyway, so it's decent. Normally I wear a respirator when I'm spraying, so I decided to film this after. But all the stuff on here is going to be the black accessories. Those are all going to be silver, and then that's going to be red. And then I'm going to move the boxes a bit further apart when I actually spray them different colors, but for now it's fine. I guess I'll get back to you then. Okay, so I have all of my painted pieces here, and I'm going to start doing some black detailing and then a bit of dry brushing, and then I'll clear coat and call it a blaster. Now, it's at this point where I really like to look at it and just, because you can really see the whole product start to come together, and you realize that it is indeed like a really custom modified blaster. Okay, I've done my dry brushing and the clear coat has dried, so here's a final internal shot before I put the blaster back together. Okay, as you can see here, the blaster has been reassembled, is functional, and now is complete. I guess this means this build vlog style video has come to an end. Thank you for watching. It's probably going to be fairly long. I'm going to do like an overview and firing test in a separate video just because this one's getting kind of long. I really enjoyed actually showing you like the process of me making a modified blaster of this nature, and I really enjoyed filming like the whole process, like including the tools and whatnot. Usually I just modify the blasters and then show you the finished product. So hopefully you like this video style, and if you did, please tell me what you liked, what you didn't like, and what you think I can improve on in the comment section down below. Like I said before though, thank you for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it, and have a great day.